Everyone tells you to quit your job, pursue your dreams, but no one talks about what happens when later shows up. The dream isn't making as much money as you wanted it to. You're jobless, feeling lost, running out of savings. Today, I want to share with you the reality behind this fantasy that we see on social media and give you a realistic, grounded toolkit and decision-making framework out of this situation of feeling stuck, financially stressed, overwhelmed with the next step in your life. It's actually wild, the difference between social media and reality. The people I meet, the people I talk to, the people I work with. Like there's this Instagram fantasy, social media fantasy, where everyone who tries succeeds in 3 months, 6 months, in 9 months. And then there's actual reality where things take longer than you expect, and usually they don't happen in the way that you expect them to. And so most of the coaches out there are like, oh bro, just go for it. Just quit your job, just jump into it. Like that's the easy part. No one talks about what happens after. Actually finding the overlap between, a job that has alignment, but also stability and security. What happens when that dream ends up not manifesting in the way that you wanted it to? And now you're back to this feeling that I described at the start. Like, look, you can continue to believe the social media fantasy, but let me just tell you what I'm hearing from the ground. One guy quit his job, started traveling, working on his business on the side. It didn't become as profitable as he wanted it to in the time that he wanted it to. And now he's looking at, how do I get another job? How do I fund this lifestyle? This girl struggling with doing something she doesn't like, but feeling indecisive, trying to find the path out of 100 different options that overlaps between alignment and security and stability. Another guy quit, started traveling, jumping from project and business to business, feeling indecisive, can't pick a path to move forward with. And another quit the corporate job, did the freelance thing, but it didn't work out the way that he had hoped, and now looking at going back into corporate to get another job. Like, it's wild how normal this pattern is for things to not work out the way that you want them to, or at least the way that we see on social media, when you actually talk to people in the real world and not just watch Instagram reels of people where it works out for everyone. And the worst part about this is that the felt sense from the inside is I did what I was told to do on social media. I went for it. I quit my job. I started traveling. I went for the business. And now I'm still feeling lost, stressed about money. Things are not working out the way that I had hoped them to. The felt sense is that I am the only one that this has happened to. I have failed. I have to walk back, tail between my legs, and I am the only one that has failed. Everyone online who has tried succeeds. We see all of these success stories and think it's the normal pattern. And so we feel like the only one where this has happened to. And it's this reduction in choices between two paths. We can either admit defeat, that we failed, we have to go back, tail between our legs, live with our parents, explain to our friends and family how I tried and I failed and this is the end. Or I just have to I have to just keep going and I'm right there and I have to keep pursuing this dream and hope that money just appears suddenly. I think a lot of this stems from the time that we spend on social media looking at other people who have succeeded, or the courses that we're following, the gurus, the creators online, and people sharing their success stories, which is great. We should have those. But no one shares their failure stories. We don't hear about those on Instagram, right? And so we think it's normal for us to quit, succeed in 3 months and 6 months, to make a profitable business in 6 months, yet we don't see all of the people where that didn't happen to. The majority, the base case, this is what is normal. And so the first reframe I want to get across here is that this is normal. There are other people exactly in your shoes who have tried, who are feeling that financial stability stress, who are looking at going back to a job, picking up remote work, traveling to a different country to get some stability back. You are not the only one in this situation. And the second is looking forward. The question is not, I have to go back, tail between my legs, and I failed, or I just I keep going. There are very real problems and feelings that you are feeling right now. The financial stability is a real problem. So let's find a real solution to that. But also, this dream is still very real. Like, let's find a real solution to that. And so rather than thinking in this binary, I want us to think in terms of this chapter of how can we find a financial stability lever and experimentation combination. We have multiple different options here between financial stability and experimentation going forward, and do this with intentionality, with purpose, not a forever decision, but for a chapter. And so for this video, I have 3 takeaways for you for this specific situation. The first is another one of these mental reframes. Stop thinking quitting and traveling is going to fix your behavioral patterns. Quitting your job, starting your business, doubling down into your side hustle, like traveling, is not going to fix your patterns around discipline, around your need for certainty, around your avoidance or procrastination. When you move away from the structure of a job, you are gifted with a lot more free time and a lot more responsibility. And you will show yourself who you become in that space. Our attention is pulled in a million different directions. Social media, scrolling, YouTube videos, messages, people. If you don't have discipline over yourself, it will come to haunt you in that free time. Like if you watched my video from a couple weeks back on the illusion of a life of external freedom, I thought quitting my job, starting to travel would give me the clarity, would give me the opportunity for me to be disciplined and for me to grow. And it did, but it just showed me the deeper patterns inside of me that was being masked, that was being hidden by the structure of my job. The money, the fears, the indecision, the perfection, the needing certainty before acting. And so just as a quick check-in for you in your journey, in your situation, if you look at the last 3 months, 6 months, 2 years since you quit, over this last chapter that you've been in, like, did you actually behave differently from the previous chapter? Or was it you were just switching contexts, switching environments, yet the deeper problems, the deeper patterns were still driving you there? The first takeaway of this is just expectation shifting from, once I quit my job and start traveling, like, all my problems will be fixed. They're not going to be fixed. Like the deeper patterns will still be there, and that takes intentionality and inner work to fix those things. The second takeaway is choose a financial stability lever intentionally. What I mean by this is it's not, I have to give up on my dream, I'm a failure, I have to go back, tail between my legs. This decision is moving forward is strategic. It is, what financial stability lever? What I mean by that is like, what job? What do I go back to corporate? Do I get a remote job? Do I go like super lean mode and extend my savings? What lever on my finances gives me the right mixture of money and energy that buys me time for over this next 6 to 12 months of a chapter? And I know a lot of us are sitting in this position overwhelmed with all of the options, overwhelmed with all of the decisions. Do we go to a different country? Do I try to find a job here? Do I go back to my home country? Do I get this remote job? Do I go back to corporate? Do I pick something new? Do I pick up a side? Like, there are infinite options. And so I want to give you a decision-making framework to bring all of this like vague fogginess around what's the next step into concrete written words, things that you can see and analyze to use moving forward. There are 6 parts, 6 questions for this decision-making framework. The first one is outcome. What are your desired outcomes? This could be like, think of the next 6, 12, 24, 24 months, 5 years. What desired outcomes? This could be about life. This could be about job, financial security. Think about goals, things like that. And why? Why do you want those things? The second thing is options. What are all of your options? List all of them. I'm telling you, if you're in this fogginess, cloudiness, like lack of clarity, list all of the options that you have. The more words on page that you have, the more clarity you will get, because all of this fogginess comes from all of these thoughts in our brain, these feelings, these sensations that are not turned into words. And so list all of the options. Do I go super lean mode? Do I move back with my parents? Do I get a remote job? Do I work at a bar? Do I go back to corporate? Do I move countries? Do I like everything? What are all your options right now? The third one is consequences. What are the upsides and downsides for each option? What are the pros, cons? What are the benefits? What are the drawbacks to each one? The fourth one is evaluate. Go through your consequences that you just listed out and look at what are the probabilities of these consequences becoming a reality. Because our brain likes to think of like, oh, worst case scenario is like, I lose everything and I have to move back, and like what's the actual probability of that happening? Maybe it's very small. Maybe the upside has a 80% chance. Maybe the downside has a 5% chance. What are the probabilities of these things happening? The fifth one is mitigate. How can you mitigate? How can you reduce the downside risks to these options? What combinations can you make? What changes, what tweaks can you make to reduce the risks of some of these options? And the sixth one is resolve. Which option gives you the highest certainty of achieving your desired outcome? Pick one, and don't just pick it, but commit to it. Write it down, cross out the other ones. Make it part of your identity for this next chapter. I got this decision-making framework from Tony Robbins, and I think it really provides a lot of clarity for these big life decisions, which is exactly why I integrated it into this specific video here. The third takeaway here is to treat these next 12 weeks as an experiment and not forever. I want us to get out of this kind of binary thinking of, oh, if I get a corporate job, like that means I failed. Like, no, it just means like do it for the next 6 months, 12 months. Do it as a intentional, purposeful chapter to save money, get some cash, reduce your debt, get some more financial stability, or take that flexible job that gives you flexible time to pursue this business that you're doing, like as an intentional chapter. This is not forever. You're not going to be at this job that you're choosing forever. It is a bridge to get you back to pursuing this aliveness, this where your heart is, this alignment, this purposeful chapter. Like, how old are you? 25, 30, you're 35. You've got the next 30, 40 years of your life, of this business, of this journey, and you're worried about 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. You're worried about 1 year out of the next 30 years of having a little bit more financial stability, paying down some of your debt, like having something that pays your bills, that allows you to slingshot into a more purposeful, aligned business and path. When we zoom out, this is such a small thing, and I think we've overblown this because of all of the success stories on social media. And once we get back into concrete, grounded reality, out of this binary thinking, and start to see this as an intentional, purposeful chapter, that in the grander story of our life, this is chapter 18A, that's like, I tried, I learned so much from this last chapter, and now I need some more financial stability. So I'm going to intentionally choose something to solve that problem so I can get back on my feet to slingshot for chapter 19. If you are in this post-quit fog, feeling this stress, overwhelm, I've been building this post-quit survival guide Notion doc. Shoot me a message on Instagram if that sounds interesting for you. It goes into a lot more detail on these steps. Or if you want my one-on-one support with this, if you want to go deeper, like this is exactly what I help my clients with. But even if you never look at that Notion doc or jump on a call with me and we chat about your situation, like grab a pen and take some of these feelings, these thoughts, these options that you're wrestling with, the things that are on your mind, and bring them into paper, to concrete reality. Realize that you are not the only person in this situation having to go back and get a job. There's a million other people who are in this same situation as you. And if you start to think of this as an intentional, purposeful choice, a chapter, a bridge, it becomes less a failure and more a bridge to what is next. That is all I got for you in this video. The more I looked back through the conversations, the people that I worked with, the more I saw this pattern continue to show up. I did the thing, I tried, I quit the job, I started this, yet I'm feeling lost, overwhelmed with decisions, feeling that financial stress. And I'm like, we get this expectation from social media that it's like all, oh, everyone that quits like succeeds. You just have to quit and like do and like jump into it. And like every coach out there is like, bro, just do it. Like just jump. But like nobody helps you with what happens after, the reality. And so I hope this video has helped you through this. Like I said, if you want to go deeper, shoot me a message and let's dive into some of the nuances, some of the weeds of your situation. That's all I got for you in this video. Catch you in the next one. Peace. Everyone tells you to quit your job. Getting into it. I feel like a horse. That was okay if you cut it together. Noise. Funny as you wanted to too. Wanted it to. Help me. Blink twice if you're being kidnapped. Bro, my perfectionism is just one shot, one opportunity. Just commit. Don't stop. Keep going. Keep going. Feel like a motivational speaker. If I were talking to my friends, driving in the car, we're just chatting, we're on a road trip, maybe I'm in the passenger seat, we're just chatting, we're chatting about life, clip into it, starts recording, boom, clip, break. Chatting with the boys. Everyone tells you